All right. Sorry, I'm starting a little bit late. Couple of minutes. Just waiting for my stream to load up and then we'll get into it. All right, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bow and Arrow Tarot. Doing the weekly reading October 20th to 26th for the sign of Gemini. My beautiful daughter is a Gemini. So, of course, I love this sign. And so let's get right into it, Geminis. And then, of course, at 5:30, I'm going to start the Libra, and then at 6, the Aquarius. All right, then I'll be taking a break and finishing off later on this evening with the water signs for the week. All right, so this is like my new endeavor of trying to live stream all of the weekly readings to give you a chance to check in and ask questions and for us to interact. All right, so let's get right into it, Gemini. We're going to pull out your romance angel messages for the week. New love. New person has stirred your romantic feelings. Wow. All right, so new love has come out. I think it was True Love came out. It's the first time New Love has come out this week. Soulmate. This is your soulmate. All right. It's really, really nice energy, a nice connection. New love could be indeed a connection with a soulmate. And then we have worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. So these are really beautiful cards for love relationships, of course, for this week. Can also be some of the, I like to pull the romance angel cards because they really have universal messages in a lot of ways. A lot of them are, right? Because worth waiting for can be divine timing in your love life, but can also just be divine timing in your life. Finally having things that were worth waiting for with regard to achievement or career goals, life goals. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't always necessarily have to just mean a romantic connection. But we're going to get right into your animal spirits. And of course, animal spirits can be individuals. They can be events coming in, stages in your life, right? Or energies that you're drawing on to get through a particular stage in your life. So, let's see what animal spirits you're walking with this week, Gemini. The vulture. Now, vulture came out earlier as well. All right, it's very, very misunderstood card. Vulture is necessary to clear out the old, right? Remnants of the old to make way for a truly new beginning, right? Free of sort of like the detritus and the leftover garbage of things in the past, right? It's truly cleaning out, but we'll talk about it. And then we have the beautiful crocodile water energy. All right, the crocodile is ever watchful, right? Very patient, waiting to make his move, right? Crocodile's very, very beautiful energy also. And then we have the phoenix is associated with the first chakra. Okay. Death and rebirth. Wow. All right, guys. So let's get right into it. I mean, the vulture, first of all, the vulture is a really misunderstood animal. It's essential, though. It's very much sort of the gatekeeper, the purifier, the guardian, right? The vulture is probably one of the most misunderstood animal spirits because it's the dirty work that the vulture does that nobody else wants to do. They clean up the mess, don't they? They clean up the mess that's left over from bad situations, right? From traumatic situations. They bring balance back into your life. This is the friend who you call upon when everything falls to shit. And they come in and they sort of like pick you up out of like, your snivelly crying pile of whatever, right? It's been horrible. And this is the friend that comes over and is able to sort of get you up out of it, get you up through it, help you work through all of the dirty work. They may literally have to come up with solutions and things to problems that that you've gotten yourself into, for instance, right? You may be resonating with this energy, and you may be the one that people are calling on, right, Gemini, to help pick them up out of their mess, right? And it's like oftentimes oftentimes it's a very sort of I want to say undervalued and misunderstood role, right? Energy that's being, that's at play here. And certainly sometimes when you resonate with vulture energy, you can very much feel like that. Like this, you feel like you're necessary, but it's like you're just not appreciated. The vulture is so underappreciated for the skills and for the work that he does, because it is the dirty work that somebody has to do, right? Now, crocodile energy is quite interesting. We're talking about water energy here. And with the crocodile, I mean, he's ever watchful and waiting. Crocodiles are extremely patient. The crocodile energy is also like one that really talks about keeping an eye on making sure that you are absolutely in line with sort of who you are, that your next move is the right move. You know what I mean? That you're not being reactionary. The crocodile talks about a resting period, a period where you just wait, cool off, right, before you make your move, right? Taking a step back, turning inward, right? Sometimes this is energy that can come in when things have just gotten too hot. Sometimes when things have gotten too combative. We're talking about a water element here, right? So this is when our emotions may have been rising too high, may have had a lot of anger issues with someone, or been in a situation that's really caused you a lot of uncomfortable feelings, aggressive feelings even at times, right? Unsure, being unsure. And so the crocodile comes in at this time to really say, look, wait a minute, take a step back, cool down, see what's really going on before you make your next move, right? And wait. Often, and not just wait though, like listlessly. Wait, gather your energy, recuperate, regroup, right? Crocodile's also all about regrouping. And so in a very intentional way, you step back from a situation, you observe, you collect your energy, and you prepare to make your next move, and so that your next move is absolutely your best move in a particular situation. Now, the phoenix is, of course, associated with alchemical symbol for ethers at the top of the card. And here we're talking about the phoenix, life and death and rebirth, right? We're talking about the first chakra, the root chakra, right? And so here, it's like starting a new stage. For some of you, certainly, it's about emotional healing, coming out of a situation, coming out of one stage of your life and going into another stage. The phoenix rises from the ashes, right? So it's freedom from suffering, freedom perhaps right now. Some of you guys are coming out of a very difficult period in your life. You're finding freedom in this new stage of your life. It feels as though you have, it's not so much that you've burned bridges, but you've kind of mended whatever things that were still bothering you from before, that were hanging over from before, perhaps relationships that have fallen, by the wayside, that you regretted. Those type of things, you've kind of like either dealt with them, mended the bridges, or you know what I mean. You've accepted what happened, and it's like you're really good with everything up until now. And so this is a really good card to talk about sort of burning off karma, in a sense, letting go of baggage, right, and realizing that the essence of the phoenix, of rising from the ashes, is also sometimes realizing when you've been in a difficult situation for long enough, or too long even, and it's time to move on. So it's that acceptance, it's that kind of completion and beginning again. Some of you may indeed be starting a new career, and sort of course, with new love coming in. Some of you may indeed be entering in a new love sort of connection, new love mate connection, soulmate connection that leads your life down a completely different path. That this is now a totally different stage of your life beginning. All right, Gemini, let's get right into your forecast for the week. We are going to pull out 3 cards for you guys. Hello, Maria. Good to see you, Maria A. Hello. I'm going to pull out your forecast. It's going to be anywhere from 5 to 8 3-card spreads, my lovely Gemini, just to let you know what you may or may not be going through this week. And of course, right after this at 5:30, thank you, Maria. I will be uploading the 5:30 I'll be uploading starting the Libra. And then at 6, we'll be going right into Aquarius. Take a break. And then later on tonight, I will do the water signs. And if I have time tonight and I still have some energy left, I'm going to do a live stream question and answer session. All right, Gemini, let's get right into it. 3 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, and 2 of Cups. All right. So indeed, some of you are really starting, perhaps you are starting a new stage in your life with regard to relationships. 3 of Pentacles. Gemini, for some of you, you're beginning to see an increase in your work and the attention that you're getting for your skills with regard to your work, right, or your career. You're starting to get people recognizing who you are. For some of you, it could very well be that you're starting to get requested to work on certain projects, etc., depending on what your career is in, right? 3 is the number for bonding and loyalty and coming together with like-minded people. It can just indicate a period of time where there's more interest, more attention in your career, on you and on your particular skill set. You're really putting your mind, body, and soul into everything right now, and it's just beginning to really pay off. For some of you, this is starting. This week comes in with this 3 of Pentacles, so you may be having a project meeting or something of that nature, something to do with your career or your business or abundance. You may be meeting with someone who's going to help in that area this week, at the beginning of the week, or have discussions with someone who is going to impact that area of your life positively, I would say. But you're also kind of dealing with an 8 of Cups this week and a 2 of Cups, which is quite interesting in that, Gemini, some of you are realizing that certain relationships are wanting too much from you. Some of your connections are too much. You know, the boundaries, they're crossing boundaries. This could be with friends, family, or in a romantic, you know, if you're dating someone or what have you. But your close sort of heart relationships, you're realizing that, you know, there's certain boundaries that you need to start putting in place so that you can have a better connection, right? Some of you may have already realized that and put these boundaries in place, may have walked away from certain connections that have really been kind of sucking your energy, right? You've realized that you don't, some of you may have walked away from certain either dating scenarios, romantic partners, or even friendships that have been sucking your energy, and you've kind of said, yeah, enough is enough, right? You know, I require, you know, you're starting to put some criteria in place, some boundaries in place, and also just sort of a bar, like raising the bar in a way of like, look, if you want to be close with me, you want to have my energy, then you need to bring this to the table or that to the table. You can't just sort of suck just off of me. You may have certainly turned your back on some relationships, but it's made the way for a really nice connection this week. And some of you indeed have a new lover coming in, the 2 of Cups. And this lover comes in a very mutually, like sort of, in a very mutually respectful way. Like, very much on the same page as you, right? This person who comes in is like, oh, wow, it's like a breath of fresh air. So this week for some of you Geminis, it's very good in career and in love, but in love specifically because of this decision that you've made. Judgment, 10 of Swords, and we have the Knight of Swords. Wow. I believe you need a raise too, Maria. I think everybody needs a raise, honestly, right? But we'll see how that impacts. If I see any signs of that in the forecast, I will let you know. Judgment. And that raise could well indeed have been the Three of Pentacles, right? But this could certainly be the beginning of what would bring the raise in, right? Just the attention, right? You can see that the attention is starting to be focused on you. So it could just be the beginning of a stage that brings in the raise coming quite soon. So Judgment is coming, Ten of Swords, Knight of Swords. Judgment talks about really kind of letting go, right? You're letting go of some of your guilt. You're letting go of some of whatever it is you've been putting yourself through, right? A lot of times, the Judgment card is specifically about being able to see situations from more than one side. When we begin to see all the different sides of a situation, when we begin to sort of understand that people's experience and interpretation of things are different, right? Interpretation of events can be different. The way they see them compared to you can be different. It begins to increase our compassion for them, right? When we can understand where they're coming from. You know, you ever say, wow, you know, I never thought of it. Somebody, you talk about a situation with a friend and they say, wow, okay, they play devil's advocate, and it's like, wow, you know, I never thought of it that way. If I think of it that way, I can really empathize with the person, right? And that leads to compassion. But judgment, the first step in judgment is also sort of letting go of any guilt, misplaced guilt that you may have. Oftentimes, misplaced guilt is what keeps us in perpetually toxic situations. And I say that because some of you Geminis go through this sort of experience where you're kind of letting go for yourself, right? Letting go of judgment you've put on yourself, guilt or responsibilities that you've put unfairly on yourself, and you immediately come to a Ten of Swords, which is finally closing the book on a very difficult stage in your life. Okay, but that understanding, you know, what happens, you know, when we are our own worst judges, right? We're the hardest on ourselves. And a lot of times we don't realize how we keep ourselves in situations really in a form of sort of punishing ourselves, or feeling as though that we can somehow burn off the guilt or the negative karma by subjecting ourselves to a more difficult state, right? A difficult relationship, or putting up with more than we should, right? But when we truly begin to understand that essence of the Judgment card, what that essence the Judgment brings in, and the idea of really understanding that you're only human, right? You can only do the best that you can do, right? Forgiveness begins at home. And so compassion starts at home, right? It starts with yourself. And this opens the doorway to the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is the death of finally saying, look, I'm done with this part of my life. It's been a very difficult life. You've had a lot of blows to the ego. This is the death of the ego. This is symbolic of the death of the ego, because what happens in certain stages of our lives, if we're dealing with financial issues, that's a blow to our ego, isn't it? I mean, that makes us, sometimes it can make you feel bad when you don't have the money that others have, or you don't have the ability to do things what other people can do, or if you're under pressure because the money you're making is not enough. That's a blow to the ego. These swords in this ego, these are examples of those type of swords. But what happens is that, oh yeah, I remember that too, Maria. What happened with Gemini getting the fire ants as well? But what happens when when this ego dies, in this period of sort of going through a lot of this difficult learning lessons, right, is now over with the 10. You really take a quantum leap forward. You don't, these issues no longer bother you. It's the end of a stage of your life where these type of things will bother you. They won't bother you going forward. The trials and tribulations that you've had up until now will not be the same type of troubles that you have going forward. And this is the beauty of the Ten of Swords. You kind of come out of this a much better person with less of an ego and more spiritual strength. This is very good, but you have to start with the forgiveness at home. And Knight of Swords comes in, and the Knight of Swords is quite interesting because this can certainly be a friend who comes in and it really kind of whisks you up and out and away onto sort of a different way of doing things, certainly after this period of your life finishing. Knight of Swords, I'm going to say, could very much be a sort of Bonnie and Clyde or Thelma and Louise type of friendship connection that comes in this week. And you both kind of, after this closing of this really rough stage, some of you may be moving. Suddenly, you may be getting money coming in. Suddenly, you may have gotten some solutions to obstacles. Suddenly, this can all come in with Ten of Swords too. But you go off on this adventure with this other Knight of Swords, this kindred spirit. Fool, Aries, and the Star. Three major arcana. So some of you are certainly starting a new stage in your life with that Fool card where you're going to be reasserting your authority, right? Emperor is all about authority, establishing authority, maintaining stability, maintaining your authority of your life, right? This is going to be the last spread because I'm going to have to get ready for the next reading. And so for some of you, you're about to start a new stage in your life, but this stage of your life is a stage in which you are in a position of leadership and authority. It could be as well at work. Some of you may indeed ascend to a manager position or supervisory position. Remember though with Emperor energies that not to be too rigid, right? Or too obstinate in the way that you rule or in the way that you lead. You have to be, the ultimate goal of the emperor is to maintain stability, not simply to rule, right? If his leadership or his guidance or his authority doesn't maintain stability and causes a chaotic or unstable situation, then he's not doing his job well. Remember in all things that this is what the emperor is all about, maintaining power and stability to move forward with a good sort of grounding space, right? And of course, this is fire energy associated with Aries. We have the Fool. So yeah, you're going into this new phase, Gemini, where you're kind of being put in this position of authority. And for some of you, this new sort of stage in your life and this position that you're taking up is very much a manifestation of a dream come true. So for some of you, it could very much be... oh, very good. Yes, this is also the card, Maria. This is the card for the father figure. But for the father figure in the essence that the father is the leader, the maintainer of stability in the home. Remember, 4 is the number for stability, right? And this is the first 4 in the major arcana, right? And so the first sort of stable power position that the father maintains. It's also can represent sort of our ideas about life, right? Our ideas that we hold on to about, our moral center, our moral code, and all of these things are sort of associated with the father figure as well. And so, these are the things with Emperor that we kind of want to maintain. And a lot of you, this whole position, you may be indeed, because some of you may be indeed becoming fathers. My readings are not gender specific. You may indeed be actually becoming fathers when this card comes up. Because again, this position that you take up in this new path of your life is a dream come true. It's part of you manifesting your ambition for your life. So for some of you, this could certainly be an emperor and enterprise or in business, but it can also be in family in the sense of, yes, becoming a father or perhaps establishing a family connection that leads to fatherhood or that leads to sort of longevity of the family line in some way or another. Right? I want to say that. And this doesn't necessarily even have to be by blood, could be by adoption, but it's still maintaining the family authority and the family line, right? Under your sort of leadership, right? This could also be indicative of that. Whatever the case may be, it is something that you have been wanting for a very long time with star energy on. Star Energies talks about always taking steps towards manifesting your ultimate goal for your life, right? I'm not just talking about the little wishes and dreams that we have along the way. We're talking about here that our ultimate goal for our life, the type of life we want to have. And so for some of you, this is definitely that stage on the path of achieving that for you. And it begins this week, right? It begins for some of you, the awareness that this is happening, the beginnings, the inklings, whatever the case may be, are this week for you. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Maria. I really appreciate you stopping by. I've been reading your text throughout, and I do love it. It really allows me to really feed back and really intuit what I need to say about the cards for you guys. So I do hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to wrap this up now because in a few minutes I'm going to be starting the Libra live stream for the weekly, and we're going to go do the same spread again but for Libra. But for right now, if you did enjoy this and you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And hit the bell notification, which is going to let you know about all my uploads. And that way you'll know also later on if I am uploading a question and answer session. All right, guys? All right. Thank you so much for stopping by. I love you so much, my lovely Geminis. And I'll see you next week, next Saturday for next Saturday's weeklies. Bye-bye.